and welcome to the Board of Directors meeting of Thursday, the 17th of November, 2016. There is a quorum present, so I would call the meeting to order. First order of business is introductions. I'm Carl Penninger, President of the GTCA.
Mary Veal, Executive Assistant to the General Manager.
Joseph Sal, Director, Tower 1. Wade West, Director, Tower 3.
Sonino Collier, Tower 2.
Rich Salafuente, Director at Large.
Richard Miller, Director, Tower 1.
Frank Fittipaldi, General Manager.
Art,
Art McGee, Director, Tower 3.
thank you all. The first order of business is approval of the open meetings of October the 20th, 2016. Can I have a motion to accept, please?
I move to accept the minutes.
Second. Are there any comments? There seems to be no comments on minutes. All those in favor of accepting minutes, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. The holiday season is now upon us. That means next Thursday, the 22nd, is our traditional tree lighting, which I believe is now in its 27th year. This will be in Tower 2 lobby at 7:30. We'll have the Galaxy Singers and surprises for the children. The holiday season begins with gift giving. This is going to be in the first week in December. We'll have bins in the lobbies for two causes this year: Divine Connections Community Development Corporation, which will collect for local residents new toys for children, non-perishable food items, and also take gift cards. The other charity this year will be the Bergen County Protect and Rescue Foundation, a no-kill shelter. And on their flyer, they have a whole list of items they would like for the animals. In addition to that, you all should have gotten a flyer from the Galaxy saying the holiday gift fund is here. This should make a difference. It's the contribution to the employees. This is not all the employees, the management employees are not included in this, but the rest of our employees, including those people you don't see, this is a way to say thank you. So please return this, and if you can, in early December, because what we'd like to do is give them their Christmas presents before Christmas at their Christmas party. We also have another holiday celebration which is new to us. It's the Mall and Merchants Association is going to throw a holiday party for the customers of the mall. That's going to be on Thursday, December the 8th in the lower mall at 6:30 p.m. There'll be music, pizza, and wine, and hopefully everybody will have a good time and will help revitalize the mall. This evening, for the first time in a long time, we will have a homeowner address the board after the close of business of the meeting. Speaking before the board of directors is reserved only for those issues that are general concern to the GTCA. The speaker signs a statement, what the conditions are, but in principle, nobody on the GTCA and the GT administration, the board, knows what's going to be said in advance. So this will be 5 minutes after the close of the meeting for the Galaxy resident speaker. It's also, I think it's time, again, to remind people of the way a few things work with Galaxy. I'd like to talk a little about the agenda. Sometimes this meeting seems very quick, and I don't think it's apparent to all of the homeowners and residents what the procedure is before putting together an agenda before the open meeting of the board. It's not unusual for motion to be discussed for weeks or even months before they're brought forward at an open meeting. There are a few rules for taking actions at the board meetings. For example, to discuss a policy or administrative resolution at a board meeting, the board member must introduce the provisions of the proposal in a resolution form 7 days before the board meeting. Board members are also asked by 11 o'clock on the Monday before the board meeting to provide information on any motion they wish to place on the agenda. That same day, we have an agenda meeting to discuss these items and make sure that the board members understand what is being proposed. This gives time for the board to ask questions and study the motions before the Thursday meeting. Every item on the published agenda, an effort is made to give the information to board members well in advance so they can take a meaningful vote on the issue. One of these examples is the budget, which we've had 3 versions of before tonight. The board gets many suggestions from residents and issues they should address. In some cases, board members bring these issues before the board and make them their own. Many issues are sent to the board from the committees to be addressed by them. These go through the executive council and made up by the chairman of the committees. These committees' recommendations are acted on when approved in principle by the board. Tonight, an example of that is the pickleball club that's on the agenda tonight. There are many important issues on the agenda tonight. The most important is the 2017 budget. This is something we should pass this meeting. If we do not have a budget in place by the end of the month, we will have, in accordance with the bylaws, a 10% increase in the maintenance assessments starting in January 2015. That is the end of my comments. We will now move on to the treasurer's report.
Good evening. My name is Tommy Fierro, and I'll be presenting the Controller's Report this evening. As of October 31st, total cash is approximately $8 million, which includes $5.5 million in the R&R accounts, $650,000 combined in the depository and operating accounts, and approximately $1.6 million in escrow. Next, I'll run through the accounts receivable as of October 31st. Total accounts receivable from homeowners as of the end of the month is approximately $3,180,000, which includes $3,150,000 in legal, $15,000 in payment plans, $20,000 of 1 month past due, $700 in 2 months past due, and $2,500 over 60 days. In October, we had approximately $325,000 of payments made through Condo Cafe, our online payment portal. Next is accounts payable. Total accounts payable as of October 31st was approximately $585,000, which includes legal invoices of approximately $38,000 and R&R invoices of approximately $122,000. The aging of the accounts payable consists of approximately $365,000 of invoices 0 to 30 days old, $77,000 of invoices 31 to 60 days old, $65,000 of invoices 61 to 90 days old, and $78,000 of invoices over 90 days old, a third of which relates to disputed Slate elevator invoices. As of November 15th, there were 643 owner occupants and 432 absentee owners at the Galaxy. Of those 432 absentee owners, 396 are currently occupied by tenants, which is about 37% of the total Galaxy units. The October financial package will be available on Condo Cafe at the beginning of next week. And this concludes the Controller's Report this evening. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the board to the Controller's office on the contents of his report? There appear to be no questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
We're now going to move on to the manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board and Galaxy community. It's my pleasure to update you on key activities, projects, and initiatives of the association over the past month. During the week of November 7th, the heating system and associated plumbing was replaced under the indoor pool and whirlpool. Unfortunately, it was necessary to close the pools during this repair. During the closing, however, the spa took the opportunity to power wash the entire pool deck and all the blue matting, as well as to perform other deep cleaning throughout the area. I'd like to recognize the maintenance staff. On Saturday, October 29th, in the late evening, it was necessary to shut down the boilers to make it possible to replace the critical steam valve, which provides heat and hot water for Tower 3. Because this operation would result in a complex-wide hot water shutdown, hot water interruption, the maintenance team scheduled themselves to perform this work between 11 p.m. on that Saturday evening and 5 a.m. the next morning to minimize the impact it would have on the community. The valve is located some 20 feet above the boiler room floor, and with advanced work to erect scaffolding and a block and tackle, the team was able to reduce the hot water interruption to only 3 hours during a time when most of the community was sleeping. So I want to recognize our maintenance manager, Rodney Fenderson, for coordinating and supervising this effort, and his team, Levy Reyes, Carl Brialis, Jose Montes, and Gallo Zumba, all who worked on that project all night for their good work. The hallway redecorating project is on schedule and now in its 7th week of production. The project was started early last month with the understanding that there would be an initial delay in the delivery of the new ceiling lights and paper for the elevator lobby walls. However, we have been moving forward, leaving the original ceiling lights in place for now. The new energy-efficient LED lights, readily available in 30 watts, are being custom-made for the Galaxy to run on 10 watts. Aside from the obvious energy savings, our new lighting qualifies for New Jersey Smart Start rebate program. Earlier this month, we applied for these rebates, which will return approximately $17,000 to the Galaxy Towers. We are also removing mirrors and prepping the walls and painting the elevator lobby walls until the new paper arrives. All remaining materials will arrive by no later than the first week of January, at which time the contractor will quickly catch up, install the new lights and elevator lobby wall covering in just a few short weeks. This decision allowed us to start and finish the project 3 months sooner. The penthouse floors in Towers 1, 2, and 3 have been completed. The 48th and 49th floor in Tower 1 and floors 40 through 42 in Tower 2 are also substantially complete. Minor flaws in the finished work are and will continuously be pointed out and corrected as we go along. Our flooring contractor is doing an outstanding job completing their work within 2 to 3 days. This includes leveling the floors and the installation of carpet tiles with minimal disruption to residents so far. On the garage reconstruction project last month, we reported the contract with technical construction was terminated for default due to significant completion delays and other concerns. Since then, we have identified an alternative contractor to finish the work, and we worked with our attorney and structural engineer to file claims with the bond company, which guarantees the performance of the failed contractor. As a result, heavy construction to complete the 10th floor ramp and reconstruction of the 7th floor beam will be completed by the end of the year at no additional cost to the association. Residents can expect the garage to be cleaned up and largely back to normal for the winter months. In March, the new contractor will be back to complete the ceiling and painting of the new decks on the 12th and 11th floors. At the same time, partial depth repairs have begun, otherwise known as the pothole project, for the lower floors of the garage. The scope of work for this project was prepared by an engineer and awarded at the October meeting after competitive bidding. The work commenced 2 weeks ago on the 8th and 7th floors of the garage, focusing on the drive lanes and high pedestrian traffic areas. Work will continue on the 7th floor this week, followed by the 6th and 5th floors. Once high traffic areas are complete, overhead work and other sensitive areas will be scheduled and secured from traffic. This work is on task for completion within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Work has also commenced this month on the Plaza Driveway Drain Project. This important project to install 2-stage drains which will drain both above and below the surface of the driveway. This will eliminate trapped water within the system and will reduce or eliminate the movement of pavers which float around in that trapped water. 6 drains in the vicinity of Tower 1 have been successfully completed earlier this week. This work will continue through the month of November. For the safety of the construction workers and others, we ask that all residents use extra caution when driving through the work zones on the plaza and in the garage. And for those who need some additional encouragement in this regard, the security group continues to actively enforce the 5-mile-per-hour speed limit of the Galaxy. Unfortunately, speeds between 15 and 20 miles per hour are being continued to be observed in the garage. This is alarming when one considers how many residents and guests, contractors and employees are routinely walking through the garage. General manager too. Using radar to record speeds, the security group is documenting quite a few violators and issuing warning notices. Fines will follow for repeat offenders and ultimately, according to your rules, loss of drive parking privileges in the garage for those who continue to put others at risk in their haste. Finally, before you this evening are a few board items. One, to install accessible doors in the connecting building corridors on the 16th floor. Presently, doors in buildings 4 and 5, which connect to towers, are difficult for persons with disabilities to navigate. The 16th floor is a high traffic area which features the main laundry rooms for each tower. It is also the most traveled floor between the towers. Mechanized doors will make it possible for residents with disabilities to navigate the 16th floor corridors without assistance. The new mechanized doors will include hand-activated push buttons to open from either side. Final insurance policies are up for renewal this month. Staff has worked with our insurance broker to again obtain favorable rates for renewal of policies for directors and officers liability, crime, workers' compensation, and fiduciary. As you may recall, the premiums for these same policies competitively bid last year were reduced by $47,500, or 25% reduction over the year before. Staff and broker have worked again, and they're able to hold the line, reducing these premiums by another $2,000 this year. This is one small example of the fiscally conservative practices and controls of the association expenses, which again makes it possible to reduce the association's budget for the 4th year in a row. And then finally, on the 2017 budget, I know I speak for the management team for Service Residential and the accounting team in saying we're proud of what the board and management has been able to accomplish together to improve the financial health of the association. In the last 2 years alone, we've seen a 6% reduction in expenses, just under $1 million reduction. That concludes my remarks. Thank you, Mr. President, Board, and Community.
Are there any questions from the board concerning the general manager's report? There appears to be none. We'll move now on to unfinished business. The unfinished business is the second reading of the policy resolution for the common elements, the rules for hallways and doors. We passed this resolution last time. It would be finally passed and put into effect tonight. Without reading the whole resolution, what it really says is the GTCA can set a standard for the hallway's appearance and has the ability to make exceptions for this on a case-by-case basis. We asked for comments. No comments have been received. I do not believe it's necessary to reintroduce the motion, but we can now have discussion. Are there any discussion of this motion? There appears to be no discussion of the motion. All in favor of the policy resolution concerning rules for hallways and doors, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passes. New business, the 2016-2017 insurance renewals.
I would like to make a motion to award of the 2017 annual insurance renewals to Travelers Casualty and Surety Insurance Company for the following insurance coverages. Directors and officers liability insurance in the amount of $75,223. Crime insurance in the amount of $6,597. Fiduciary liability in the amount of $996. And to United Wisconsin Service and mental health for workers' compensation in the amount of $58,477.
Is there a second? Motion is seconded. Any discussion? There appears to be no discussion. All those in favor of the motion, raise your hand or say yes.
Yes.
Motion is passed unanimously. The election rules for 2017. Each year, the elections are conducted by the election committee. The committee is formed in accordance with GTE Administrative Resolution Number 4. Each year, the election committee formulates rules that are approved by the board for the conduct of the election. The election committee operates independently from the board of management. The committee can consult legal counsel on any issue. It also identifies an arbitrator that will be approved by the board that will serve in those instances where dispute resolution is needed. And the grievance and procedures are detailed in the election rules. The dates of the election are detailed in the election rules. The election rules will be published for all homeowners with the dates if they are approved tonight. The election rules are substantially the same as 2016. May I have a motion on the election rules?
I would like to make a motion to adopt the 2017 election rules as submitted and recommended by the election committee.
Is there a second? Motion is second. Discussion? Richard?
The board has been discussed the election rules somewhat. Last year, there were only one candidate for positions, so there were some changes made for last year's election. That's the 2016 election. And the main change there was restricting campaigning in the lobbies. The change that was made at one time, you could campaign at any time, but then that was changed for 2016, that until February 21st, there was no campaigning in the lobby. So from February 21st through Election Day, whatever it is, it's the beginning of March, then you could campaign in the lobbies. And at that time also, campaigning was restricted to the raised seating areas in the lobbies. So the board was speaking a little bit about it, and I felt that that's too restrictive because a lot of times homeowners are unaware that the election's coming up. So I feel that those rules are too restrictive, and what we want to do is encourage homeowner participation. So the board tossed around a few ideas, so for some alternate ideas to replace this one area of the rules, and we'll come back next month after we've discussed it some more, and we will hopefully come up with some solution to this so it's not so restrictive.
Any other comments? There appears to be no other comments. All those in favor of adopting the election rules for 2017, raise your hand or say yes.
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you. Formation of the Pickleball Club.
I'd like to make a motion to establish a Galaxy Tower Pickleball Club, a fast-growing sport in North America. This new game is a paddleball fun for all ages and skill levels on Saturday mornings. It will operate between 9 and 11 on reserved tennis court number 3.
Is there a second? Motion is second. Discussion? There appears to be no discussion. All those in favor of establishing the club, raise your hand or say yes.
Yes.
The motion is passed unanimously. The next is the budget for 2017. Joe will introduce that.
I make the motion of the approval of the 2017 budget in the amount of $15,847,059 as detailed in a report that will come out to the homeowners in the following weeks.
I second.
before we discuss this, note if the budget is passed tonight, the entire budget will be posted, so all owners can review it. Joe, would you like?
Just the high-level details. The overall budget decrease for all expenses is a 0.63% reduction. The percent is a 1.9% reduction in the actual assessments. The 0.63 is driven by a slight reduction in revenue and increase in expenses that were outside of the normal ones that went directly into the owner's assessment. So on your maintenance bills, it would be a 1.98% reduction.
Any further discussion? There appears to be no other discussion. All those in favor of approving the 2017 budget, raise your hand to say aye.
Aye.
The motion is passed unanimously. The next item on business is the return of the 2015 surplus to the homeowners.
I make the motion to return the 2015 surplus to the homeowners. The surplus from 2015 was $133,431. The plan would be to return the surplus through the 2017 maintenance in equal monthly installments.
Second.
Motion is seconded. Any discussion?
Just to highlight to the homeowners, in the 2016 maintenance, you have your return of your 2014 surplus, which was $186,193. The 2015 surplus is $133,431. So I would expect to see approximately a $4 decrease of the return in that line in your 2017 maintenance statements, but it'll still be listed on the line and the same as a return of your surplus. And just additional good news, as of the year date of October, we're running another surplus in 2016, so we're continuing the nice trend with the board, working closely with management and the accounting department to manage our expenses. And as of now, I'm not seeing any way that we would not maintain that surplus, as it's approximately $300,000 going into November. Now October still needs to be scrubbed a little bit more, but will be, as the year gets to a close, I'll be working closely with management and accounting to ensure that everything's in proper order and getting ready to kick off the 2016 audit.
Further discussion? There appears to be no further discussion. All those in favor of returning the 2015 surplus to the homeowners, raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Accessibility doors for connecting cars, the 16th floor. Somebody,
Who's going to make the motion? I don't know. It's supposed to be Art.
Art,
Art was going to take.
Art, you were going to make the motion?
No, I am making a motion to table it.
Okay, can somebody read the motion, please?
I'll read. The motion is to make a motion to award a contract to New Jersey Door Corporation of Hillside, New Jersey to supply and install 4 motorized doors on the 16th floor connecting corridors in the amount of $22,887 plus 10% contingencies for a total contract amount of $25,176.
Is there a second? Motion is seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I would like the floor, please. I would like to make a motion to table this discussion, not because it's not an important issue or not because it's not being thought out, actually, but I just want to make sure that we have details such as sketches of where the activators or the buttons for the doors are going to be located and how all this is going to interface with the renovation of our lobbies.
There's a motion to table on the floor. There's no discussion. The motion has been seconded. All those in favor of tabling the motion, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
The motion is tabled. The next we have the first reading. Oh, I'm sorry. You abstain.
I'm not voting, abstain.
I'm sorry, excuse me, we now have the first reading of an amended policy resolution for the garage policy and oversized vehicles. I think we just read the resolution, just a resolution.
Whereas that vehicles over 17 feet are not permitted to park in the garage, whereas in the last 4 to 6 years, 9 residents were issued parking permits for oversized vehicles. Now therefore be it resolved that these vehicles will be issued oversized vehicle permits that will allow them to park in spots which have been identified that can accommodate oversized vehicles. These permits are not transferable. And further be it resolved that policy resolution number 7 is amended as follows. Section 3. The monthly charges for parking permits will be oversized grandfathered vehicles, $160 per month.
Is there a second?
I second.
Motion is second. Is discussion?
The reason we're doing this is we've identified, like it said, oversized vehicles, and if they park any place, it's very dangerous. They stick out into the driving lane, and it does create a problem. So we're in the process of identifying where these vehicles can park, so they'll be in one place.
I'm sorry, the only other thing I was going to add is that this is for vehicles that were already previously issued parking permits, not for new vehicles to add additional vehicles. These people were already granted and have been paying for parking in the facility, so we're trying to accommodate those things that were done in the past.
This will be published in the weekly update. We will ask for a period of 30 days, which anybody can comment. And this next meeting would have the second reading.
My comment is 17 feet doesn't really seem to be very long, and I think that a lot of cars that are here now, not trucks, may be excluded from this, so it's something that we really have to look at.
Are there any further comments? Okay, I'm asking for a vote then. All those in favor of first reading of this resolution, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimously passed. Is there any other new business? Just let me say a word before I ask for a motion to adjourn. After we adjourn, we're going to have a guest speaker. The guest speaker has 5 minutes to speak. After 4 minutes and 30 seconds, I will say we have 30 seconds left. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
The meeting is adjourned. Elaine Center is okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. All those in favor?
Aye.
Elaine Center is our guest speaker.
First of all, you should know my name is Elena Center. Okay? Now Elena. Elena
I'm sorry,
Center.
excuse me.
Thank you. To introduce myself to those of you who don't know me, who are watching on the video, I've been an owner for 35 years, 1981. I'm going to give you my credentials because I've served this building well for many years. I was on the first owner-elected board of directors 1984 to 1986. I was an officer of the corporation 1985 to 1986. I served on many committees. I successfully chaired 2 committees. I created committees here. Unfortunately, our community has become very divided. You're either liked by the board or you're hated by the board. I'm not liked by this board. I'm hated by some on the board. The last time I spoke before this board was 2 years ago. Joe Purcell called me a racist. If you don't think that hasn't affected my business as a realtor, you're very wrong. For the next 52 weeks, this board of directors and Frank Fittipaldi posted that on YouTube and in the updates in the lobby every week where anybody could walk in, pick up an update, have that link, including my customers. So, let me move on. I have been harassed for over a year and a half by this general manager, Frank Fittipaldi, and this board. Okay? I invite you all to Google Frank Fittipaldi. I'm not the first who's been harassed. It was on his previous job. There were lawsuits. Let's talk about the Galaxy. Anybody who's been an owner for 8 years or more has seen how this building has gone down drastically because of this board of directors. Walk into the lobbies. Look at how the staff looks. Look at how the leaves blowing from outside. And this management company, First Service Residential, is not smart enough to tell the doorman, you need to sweep up these leaves, which also create a slipping hazard. I guess when we get sued, then we'll be proactive after the fact. All right? As recently as today, a concierge gave me keys for an apartment. I was not asked to sign for those keys. I've reportedly reported this to the board and Frank Fittipaldi. Nothing is done. This is our security. For any of you who don't know, in the spring of 2015, our 4 penthouses were broken into. General Manager Frank Fittipaldi went on TV and said the following, I quote this from a link that was sent to me by 2 absentee owners and a local realtor. There are 3 towers and many ways to enter the property. While we have security, it's not 100% guaranteed that we can screen every guest and every resident. Are you freaking nuts to go public with that? And then it ends up on the World Wide Web to the point where people send it to me. We've talked to Frank about this many times. I've written it to the board many times. Why, to this day, a year and a half later, are people still walking into this building right past the desk and not being stopped? Why are keys being given out without us signing out for them? The doorman doesn't have the right to put my name there because he could be writing Wade Wesson's name who took the keys. This has got to stop, and I don't understand why Frank Fittipaldi and this board can't take care of something as easy as this, which is a major security issue. And I hope that this is going to be addressed after my bringing this up tonight. We've been lied quite a few times. We've been lied to quite a few times by this board and Frank Fittipaldi. In the beginning of the summer, Frank stood up and said, tenants will be happy to know we're going to give you a break from the dirt and the noise of the work in the garage. Guess what? The garage company went bankrupt, okay? They ran off with our money. Why weren't we told the truth back then? Why did I have to hear it from somebody who lives at the Versailles, who also has First Service Residential? All right? Frank, stop attacking me. You keep taking away my spa privileges. You claim my dog pooped in the lobby. You won't provide proof of it. You hit me with a fine. I paid my maintenance and 100% except for the fine. You hit me with more fines. You threaten my credit when I have over an 800 rating. I want the money back. I want to see proof that my dog pooped in the lobby. There are 3 cameras there. And don't tell me ever again I don't have an obligation to show you anything.